Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and please excuse the scatty appearance, but I have just braved going to Asda's, and we all know what a stressful experience that is for me, so yeah. And we're also still in the office, so weird angles and weird lighting all around, but it is what it is, and it's nice to have a little quiet space. So what are we looking at today? Today we are looking at September's edition of Book of the Month, and we are entering spooky season. We are going into fall, it is spooky, it is starting to get dreary, it is Halloween right around the corner, which also means Preptober's right around the corner, and then going into Camp NaNoWriMo. Not Camp NaNoWriMo, real NaNoWriMo. Brain, please work today. I thought our book of the month should be something that leans into the spooky but not go too far into it just yet. It's a slow burn of spooks. This is Lockwood & Co. The Screaming Staircase. This is the first of the Lockwood & Co. books, and I will be the first to admit that the series as a whole, because I think there's about 4 or 5 books at the moment, and I think I've read 3. It's one of those series that does kind of trail off after a while, but it does have such a strong opening and such a strong first book that I thought, why not? So this is set in a very strange version of olden London where the dead are just hanging around. It does go into more detail than that, but it is focusing on where spirits and ghosts have started roaming the earth again, and if they touch you it has an effect on you, which I won't go into too much detail of, but let's just say it's bad, and agencies have started spawning to combat the threat, I suppose, and this particular group is Lockwood & Co, run by a younger group who aren't taken as seriously. They're a bit of your usual ragtag. We have the overly confident, slightly Artemis Fowl style leader, we have the bookworm, we have the newbie who really wants to prove herself but sometimes bites off more than she can chew. It's just a really fun group to follow, and the fact that they aren't taken as seriously just creates for so much more humour. But then you have this world that is so well developed because it explains how the dead are back and how they have an effect on people and why it's kind of affecting different age groups rather than everybody, and how they're trying to combat it but not really because no one expected this, so no one is prepared for it. But then it's also a mystery as well. Each book focuses around a mystery where they're trying to figure out why the dead are in this particular area, what's going on, why are they haunting, I suppose. There are different kinds of spirits and different levels and different danger zones, I suppose you could call them, and I don't know, it's just one of those books where it's, yeah, it is aimed at like a YA kind of thing, but it really doesn't feel that way. There's no forced over the top romances, there's no love triangles, there's really nothing that you'd think, oh, that's so YA. It's just got younger characters in, and I suppose that's as far as it goes. And it's just one of those books that's a very easy read, but not easy to read as in it's boring or, you know, mediocre, it has a lower language level or anything like that. It's an easy read as in it really knows how to keep your attention and not linger too long on the things that aren't important. This is a mystery solving, ghost battling agency. They know how to do a job quickly, and it pretty much passes on that way in the style of writing. It's very quick, it is very to the point, and it's very blunt in both its scares and its humour. It's just a really good balance. It's one of the weirdest versions of Ghostbusters you're probably going to read, but I mean that in a really good way. Characters, they have great personalities, they clash, they complement. That brings about so many more new ways for the story to develop and them to develop at the same time. It's just very well handled, and I didn't expect that going into it. I have fully given up with all of this today. I'm just going to go full cousin it. Should I just finish this review with a full cousin it look? I may as well. I'll be the first to admit that it does have its flaws. There are times when you can tell this could have been explored so much more than it actually is, and they do try to do more, like, not exposition, but they do try to explore the world a little bit more in the sequels, but character development kind of takes a step back. They fall a little bit too heavy on the cliches in the further books. They really don't do that in the first one, so it was a really disappointing thing to see this really strong start just go slightly downhill. However, that's not to say that this just works. This works as a standalone book, and I honestly feel like it should have been a standalone book. The sequels, the first sequel is pretty good. After that, you're just reading cliches and it starts to get a bit boring and samey, but yeah, really strong start on this one. If you want to treat this as a standalone novel, that is perfectly fine. That's pretty much not what I'm doing, but what I've leaned towards. I haven't read the latest one, so I don't know. I might do occasionally, I might do eventually, you never know. But no, this just feels like it's a really good start into spooky season. It's not a full-on horror, it is not a full-on comedy, it is just a really fun, slightly twisted mystery in a world that we recognise but has been altered so much that you can almost visualise yourself there, but at the same time you want nothing to do with it. And it's just got very clever ways of explaining the spirits and how they're trying to protect themselves. It really goes heavy on the supernatural aspects, and that is something that I absolutely adore. Good characters and good supernatural world explanations without being a huge exposition dump. And it just drops you straight into the action. You do not mess around in this. Like I said, it's very blunt in its writing style, it just gets straight to the point, and it is fantastic. It's just a shame that it went so downhill with the other books, but you know, it is what it is. People run out of ideas, and you know, they're still enjoyable to read, just not as much as the first one. The first one really hooks you, the other ones kind of, you go back for the characters, but even they start to slip. I'm really not selling this book, am I? I think I did do a review of this on my blog way back when I first read it, but I have no real memory of it, so I may have to look that up. If I found it, it's in the description below, so please take a look if you want to. That is pretty much all I've got for you today. I'll be honest, it is a little bit more of a quicker, more to the point review, book of the month video, but I'll be completely honest with you guys, I am very tired. Work has completely drained me way more than I thought it was going to, and also just being in Asda's in public with idiot people who don't know how to use the one-way system and are just so rude that it just completely fries my brain. So I am sorry that this is not as in-depth and over-the-top enthusiastic as I like to think I normally am. You are probably not, you are just making that up completely, please stop now. But I will try and make it up in future videos. But yeah, if you want to give this book a go, Lockwood & Co. The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud. Really good book, really strong starts to the series. It just kind of loses focus in future installments, but this in itself, really good book, great start to the spooky season, and just fun. It's just so fun. Like, it has one of the best character descriptions. I have used this. I read it, and now I've used it so many times. It's when you describe someone and they've described one person in particular as having a perfectly slappable face. And I have used that so much in my life, and I have that book to thank for it. It's just got those little fun, quirky descriptions that don't really make, you know, not a huge impact, but they do stick with you. That is this book. It's not groundbreaking, but it sticks with you. And that is where we'll leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am sorry it is more rushed and all over the place. I'll try and be more focused in future videos, she promises, but you know what I'm like by now. I do like my tangents and going off on one, and I'm on one right now, so you know. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, my scribblers.